Good evening. Good evening. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel as I continue on our part series, the professional sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season. This is part 61. Tonight, I'll be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, the 1994 Dallas Cowboys. This is a team that was going for their record third straight Super Bowl championship. They had won the previous two in a row, beating Buffalo, respectively, in 92 and 93. So they was trying to go for unprecedented three consecutive Super Bowls, something that had not been done. It has never been done since. Never been done in the history of the Super Bowl era. But the Cowboys had a great chance of doing it. This team was going through setbacks in the offseason. Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson didn't get along, so Jimmy Johnson decided to leave and resign. And then Barry Switzer became the head coach, who coached big time in college for the Oklahoma Sooners. So he became an NFL coach, and they was able to go 12-4, win the NFC East, and win the divisional playoff game against the Packers 35-9, and then they ended up playing against the 49ers for the third straight year. But unfortunately, they lost 38-28. This is the 75th anniversary of that season, and the Cowboys definitely had a chance to win it all for the third straight time. It's just that they just didn't do it. You know, they had nagging injuries, hamstring injury for Emmitt Smith. Eric Williams got into a near fatal car accident. They lost North Turner, who also departed to become head coach of the rival Washington Redskins. He was replaced by Ernie Beasley. But overall, the Cowboys soldier on, and they was able to get to the championship game, and they lost to the 49ers, who was struggling against the Cowboys in the previous 2 years. And they basically had a hard start team with San Francisco, because they had Richard Dent, Deion Sanders, Troy Cook, Gary Plummer, and Ken Norton Jr., guys like that. I mean, they just loaded up to beat Dallas. You know what I'm saying? They did whatever they could to dethrone the Cowboys, and they did that. 38-28. They had to load up to really beat this team. So that's how great the Cowboys were the last 2 years, especially the first time they won the Super Bowl. Man, they had Aikman, Irvin, and Smith. They had Jay Novacek. They had Darryl Johnston. They had so many talented players on both sides of the ball. Charles Haley, they was good. They were great. They had a swagger about them. Alvin Harper was on that team. Unfortunately, they lost to the 49ers that year. And they got down 21 points in the first quarter, but they came right back. But it didn't work out. They fell short 38-28. So let's look at the what went wrong in that championship game. Because at the time, this was the real Super Bowl. I mean, this was it. Like, whoever won this matchup the last 3 years from 92-94, I mean, that they was gonna win the championship. The 49ers and the Cowboys, that was the real Super Bowl. Because at that time, the NFC was the dominant conference. The AFC had not won the Super Bowl since the early 80s. 83, the 83 at the time LA Raiders. So, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, the most talent was in the NFC. So let's look into this championship game. Okay. Steve Young was dealing with the pressure of never being able to win the big games. Meanwhile, Troy Aikman entered the game with a 7-0 win-loss record as a starter. The Cowboys, even though they lost 38-28, had the offensive total advantage, but the problem was that the 49ers converted 3 turnovers into 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. That's what made the difference. The third play of the game, Eric Davis scored on an interception pass that was thrown by Aikman, intended for Kevin Williams, the wide receiver. He went 44 yards for a touchdown. Then Michael Irvin was stripped by Davis, and Tim McDonald recovered it on a Dallas 39, and then set up a 29-yard touchdown pass from Young to running back Ricky Waters, who eluded several Cowboy defenders, high-stepping his way down the sideline en route to the goal line in spectacular showboating fashion. Then they turned the ball over again. Kevin Williams fumbled the ball, and it was recovered by Adam Walker. So when you look at this backdrop of this game, the difference was the turnovers that the Cowboys committed. And when you're in a big game of a championship game or Super Bowl, and you force turnovers, you got to be able to capitalize on it. And the 49ers capitalized on every single turnover and led to touchdowns. And that's what you got to do if you want to throw the defending champions, the two-time defending champions in the Dallas Cowboys. You had to force turnovers in order to capitalize on that by getting touchdowns. And that's what the San Francisco 49ers did in '94. In that '94 championship game. So you up 21-0. William Floyd scores a touchdown from 1 yard out. Then here comes the Cowboys again. This time they responded. They went 8 plays, 62 yards, converted on a 3rd and 23 situation with a 44-yard touchdown pass from Aikman to Irvin, 21-7. Then forcing a punt, Dallas drove to a 3rd and 10 situation on a 49ers 12-yard line. The Cowboys tried to fool San Francisco with a draw play by Emmett Smith, but was tackled at the game 2 yards. And Chris Boniel missed a 27-yard field goal on the next play, aided by a 33-yard pass interference penalty on Larry Brown. The 49ers drove 64 yards in 11 plays, including a 10-yard catch by tight end Brent Jones on 4th and 3, so a 34-yard field goal by Bryant. But Dallas countered with a 62-yard drive in which Aikman completed passes to Jay Novacek for 15 and 19 yards respectively, on the way to a 4-yard rush touchdown by Emmitt Smith, closing the lead to 24-14. So Aikman threw 3 straight incompletions on a 23-yard punt by the Cowboys. John Jett gave San Francisco the ball on the Dallas 39-yard line. This was like the turning point in the game, because if you're a Cowboy fan at that time, you feel momentum for your team, because it's only a 10-point lead. You've been blown out 21-0, and you're only down by 10 points. But the turning point came before the half. 2 carries by Floyd, gained 11 yards. Then Steve Young threw a 28-yard touchdown completion to wide receiver Jerry Rice. Made a diving catch in the back left corner of the end zone with 8 seconds left in the first half. That was huge. That was a done deal right there, because they put him up 31-14. So in the third quarter, Walker muffed the opening kickoff. Dallas cornerback Dave Thomas recovered it on the 49ers 25, aided by a personal foul penalty against linebacker Ricky Jackson. Dallas drove 25 yards in 7 plays, and Emmitt Smith scored to make it 31-21, which is good, but at the same time, they just couldn't stop the 49ers. I mean, they just couldn't stop them, despite how they, performed valiantly, despite, losing the game. So, it's 31-21, 49ers storming right back with a 10-play, 7-yard drive that ended with a Young's 3-yard rushing touchdown. Then, defensive back Deion Sanders ended the Cowboys' next drive with an interception. Caused Wilmsmeyer pinned Dallas back at their 11-yard line. And Dallas finished an 89-yard, 14-play drive with Aikman throwing the touchdown pass to Irvin, cutting the score to 38-28. So they never scored again. Smith had 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys had 2 more drives, both of which resulted in turnovers on downs. And there was a controversial, could have been a pass interference call on Deion Sanders. He interfered with Michael Irvin, and Barry Switzer was furious about it, so he stormed down to the field, bumped an official, and got a 15-yard penalty. And Aikman sacked. Aikman was sacked by Tim Harris, the defensive end for the 49ers, on 4th down the next play. Now, Aikman at the time broke the NFC Championship record with 380 yards passing. Michael Irvin had a great game, had 192 yards receiving in defeat. But when you turn the ball over, the 3 times that the Cowboys did, it's like, it's tough to overcome that, especially when you're on the road. And that's what the Cowboys had to deal with, that uphill climb. No matter how great they was, it's going to be tough to overcome that kind of deficit. So for the 49ers, 13 of 29 passes for Steve Young for 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 47 yards, another score. Waters had 72 yards rushing, called a 29-yard touchdown pass. Eric Davis had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. And Rhett Hall had 2 sacks. And Harris had 2 sacks. So that was the story on that. The Cowboys failed to win it, but they won it again. They won the Super Bowl the following year in '95. They won. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl. So that's it, man. That concludes a look at the 1994 Dallas Cowboys, the team that didn't win the championship during that season. The 1994 Dallas Cowboys. Please like, subscribe to the channel. I'll do a video of this Madden 2 tomorrow. The professional sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.